Hello, She Collective. Can you see me? Holy, I don't know, energetics, electronics, gods, whatever the hell's going on here. Hello and happy Tuesday. Say hello, jump on into the comments, let me know that you're there and if you can see me. I don't know. I see one person has joined. Let's see, there's Shannon. Shannon, what happened to our connection? I have no idea. If you guys are tuning in here live in the She Collective, holla, what's up? Happy Tuesday. I hope you guys are having a slam-packed, jam-packed, and fulfilling day. I'm very excited to be here to have this conversation with you guys. I'm feeling really lit up, really excited, and I hope that you all are too. I apologize that Shannon and I weren't able to get this kind of going together from a space where we could like ask each other questions, but that's okay. We're going to dive in and I hope that you enjoy it. So let's fucking love on ourselves today. How about that? Right? Let's take ourselves through a journey of figuring out who we are from a place of really diving in. And this is what I had to do. When I realized that I was a highly sensitive person, and when I learned that I was a highly sensitive person, I realized that I needed to out myself with myself because I hadn't been doing that. And kind of starting backwards for this dialogue that we're going to have here today, you know, getting to know and understand who you are creates clarity. It creates freedom. It allows you to choose and re-choose who you are at every level, in your business, in your life, everywhere. It allows us to see what it is that we need, what it is that we don't, what it is that we're available for, what we're not available for. And this is paramount. It is paramount in achieving success anywhere, in relationships with others, in relationship with yourself, in relationship with your business, in relationship with your clients, what you see for the longevity of not only yourself and your future, but for your business. It's paramount because you need to know who you are, to know what your desires are, to know what drives you, and to know where you're going. So we're going to do a little exercise. The first thing I want you to do is to close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Really do it. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. With your eyes closed, check in with yourself. How do you feel? Notice your body's response to that very question. Do you immediately go towards thinking, why is she asking me how I feel? What am I supposed to do with this question? Or are you already wondering what's coming next? Our inability to be with our emotions, deflect to thinking, or project them onto others is a bypass. So I want you to check back in. Close your eyes if you're willing. Take a deep breath in. Let all the weight out of your neck, head, and shoulders just drop out down into your fingertips like it's spilling out onto the floor. Again, notice what response you're having. Okay, I'm fine, good. Those are words. They're not emotions. They're not feelings. Try to see how you feel. Are you anxious? Are you afraid? Are you scared? Are you angry? See what's coming up. Take another deep breath in and exhale out again. With your eyes closed if you're willing. Now I want you to check in with your thoughts. Thinking, what am I thinking? I'm thinking nothing. I must be doing this wrong. I wonder what's coming next. Our inability to be with our curiosity, our self-reflection, or to avoid that with which we're facing is also a bypass. I want you to check back in, just as you did with the feelings now. Eyes closed if you're willing. Take all the feeling that you just dumped out onto the floor and allow yourself to kind of be like a metal detector, like boop, 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 all the way up to your brain. What are you thinking? Are you thinking about your grocery list? Are you thinking about that vet appointment that you forgot to make? Are you thinking about the client call you have after this? It's not wrong, but it's an indicator of how you deal with self-reflection. if you're thinking, this is a stupid exercise. It's okay, but it's also telling. Right now, you might be feeling frustrated or curious. You might be feeling anxious or fearful. You might be wondering, where the hell is this going? You might be trying to figure me out. You might be trying to figure you out. You might be trying to figure out how you got into this summit, all the information that you received over the past few days. What the hell are you going to be doing with it? You might be feeling triggered. You might be feeling like your thoughts and feelings and emotions are spinning right now. You might be feeling triggered just at the suggestion to explore your mind and your emotions. You may notice that this is actually a really familiar response for you, a familiar response to the exploration of you, that it feels like you need help finding clarity of self, or that going inward with yourself feels self-indulgent, useless. You might actually feel a little bit numb or desperate. I didn't have a feeling, I didn't have a thought. I don't have feelings, I don't have thoughts. That your understanding or lack thereof feels complicated. That this, how you're feeling right now, about your reaction and your response to go inward with yourself, whatever you're feeling, can be an overstimulation or an overarousal. Overstimulation or overarousal can cause us to shut down. It can cause us to retreat inside ourselves. It can cause us to avoid or reject ourselves. It's okay, but overarousal, overstimulation for highly sensitive people can be greatly uncomfortable. The good thing about discomfort is it's temporary. That means it won't last forever. That means it can be worked through and navigated. But it also means that there is work to be done. If when you were asked how you felt or what you were thinking, you immediately went to avoiding it, to avoiding the question, to wondering what I was getting at, where this was going to, you're trying to get in front of it or trying to figure it out, you may have been experiencing an overstimulation. Working through overarousal or overstimulation is done by reducing the stimulation. It's done by seeking and working through that with which we have an aversion to. How do you feel? I don't want to do that. What else? What else you got? What are you thinking? I don't want to do that. What else? What else you got? What's the solution? Do you have a solution? What's your advice? What do you think? Maybe I could read a book about it. The aversion of being with ourselves. Discovering that we are, or what we are feeling, we're rejecting. Or what we're thinking or what we're feeling, we feel rejected by. It took me nearly 30 years and a struggle with infertility that catapulted me into a deep depression to see my self-rejection. My patterns around fearing my own thoughts and my own feelings. I couldn't be with myself. It was too much. It took too much energy to do it. It took me nearly 30 years to see that when it came to me being present with me and my thoughts or emotions, my first instinct was to decide if I actually had time for that. Do I have time for this? How long is this going to take? What's this entail? How involved does this need to be? Am I doing that right? I don't even know if I'm doing that right. It was also to see how I could fix it. It was also to see if there was anything or anyone out there that could tell me what to do, how to do it, who to be, whether or not my thoughts and my feelings were good enough. I didn't trust myself in the connection I had to myself because it all felt too much. My thoughts and feelings felt too much. It took me nearly 30 years to realize that I didn't trust my thoughts or emotions because I didn't like being with them. When my husband and I, found out that we were struggling with infertility, the first thing I did was decide how I would handle it. Infertility specialist. I will seek out someone that knows. I will just go find the answer. Next, find an infertility specialist that has suggestions about how to fix it. Surgery, infertility drugs, give them to me. I'll take all of them. You know the answer. Lastly, was just to do what they said. No matter how deep it felt, no matter how hard it hurt, no matter how much I felt like I was losing myself, or in my body I felt like I didn't know who I was, my energy felt wrong, I felt completely outside of me, I still trusted them more than I trusted me. I spent 4 years wrestling with fertility treatments, but I spent 4 years wrestling with the fact that I didn't trust my thoughts or my emotions in that process. And in process, my hair fell out. I dropped to 85 pounds. I developed cystic acne. I became reactive, angry, lost inside myself, and it nearly killed me. Until I got so deep in feeling poorly about myself and having thoughts that reinforced feeling this way, that I contemplated suicide. And I scared the shit out of myself. It was all too much to handle because my thoughts and feelings about it were too much. And because my thoughts and feelings were too much, I didn't know how or who could handle it. Not me. It's too much. I had gotten so far outside of myself, so far outside of trusting myself, that it actually created a boundary with me. A boundary that supported me not feeling supported from within. A boundary that convinced myself that it was far greater to rely on other people, their perspective, their expertise, their validation. A boundary that denied me feeling and being present to what I was thinking, what I was feeling. A boundary that said my thoughts and feelings were too much and therefore not to be trusted. I did all of this denying the fact that I could feel it. I could feel what I wanted. I could feel what felt like the way. I could feel that it didn't feel like me to be in that process anymore. But I was following the rules because I had the validation, the expertise, the proof, the evidence that suggested they knew better. I could feel the intensity every time I needed to make a choice. The weight of it. I could feel the buildup when being with the energy of that choice, the magnitude of it, the reverberation of it. I could feel the reinforcement nudging me to or from it. I could feel it all, but it all seemed too much. This tornado of thought and emotion is what it's like being a highly sensitive person. If you felt any part of that as I was going through that and explaining that in relationship to yourself, the doubt you feel when you make a decision, the self-reflection you have when you're looking for someone to validate you, and the invalidation of whatever you could come up with on your own, and diminishing it and thwarting it and thinking that always, almost all the time, somebody or something else knows better than you. You might be a highly sensitive person too. Assumptions about highly sensitive people is that we're weak or imbalanced, that we're meticulously calculated, but not tough, that we're a wet blanket or dull. That's not the case. Highly sensitive people simply think and feel on a deep level. In fact, if you're a highly sensitive person, you may have heard, or often do hear, you're too sensitive. You're thinking and feeling about this too much. Or stop taking everything to heart. Toughen up. Stop making this such a big deal. Or my personal favorite, why are you being so dramatic? Imagine hearing this your whole life. And if you're a highly sensitive person and these are ringing bells and bells are going off in your head, then you already know. As a highly sensitive person, it can make you feel at odds with your thoughts or feelings. It can make you feel like there's something wrong with you, something about you that's not to be trusted, something that needs to be fixed. Now imagine being faced with a life-altering challenge or a big decision. And imagine being faced with a life-altering challenge or a big decision with those thoughts, feelings swirling inside of you. Imagine hearing there's something wrong with your body. Imagine hearing there's something about your body that needs to be fixed in order to help you get pregnant. Imagine hearing that you will not be able to do this naturally or on your own. All elements of infertility were a trigger for me. A trigger that caused me to become so overstimulated and so over-aroused during our struggle that I basically short-circuited and shut down. And in the process, I nearly self-destructed. Being highly sensitive is often viewed as something that needs to be corrected, something that holds us back. This treatment can breed a lack of trust within you and an overactive sense of trust in other people. It can lead to severe self-doubt and codependency. It can make us deny seeing how we feel and what we think and even what we want. While there are elements of being a highly sensitive person that can seem like a downfall, like overanalyzing things, having an overactive mind, deeply feeling something, or just knowing without any reason that you do or do not like someone. There are also elements of being a highly sensitive person that can prove greatly beneficial. You are highly empathetic. You just are. You are deeply compassionate. You are intuitive on a level that sometimes maybe freaks you out. Or just knowing that you do or do not like someone or something. It works both ways. You can imagine how challenging being a highly sensitive person can be when facing life-altering moments, making big decisions, having high-level investments, sharing your feelings or your thoughts about something that may be controversial, or feeling within yourself the need to change. It can send you into a tailspin. It sent me into a tailspin. A tailspin that may or may not keep you in a 4-year spiral trying to understand thoughts and feelings that are being magnified by your ability to be super aware. What do highly sensitive people need to keep in mind then? Well, first of all, you're not that special. I mean, you're special, but you're not the only one. About 15 to 20% of all people are highly sensitive. You also need to know that your senses are magnified, which will cause you to care deeply about other people, about certain things, about your feelings, about your thoughts. That you don't need to have a reason to feel. That you are creative and deeply thinking. And coming to terms with yourself means learning to understand and trust yourself. In our struggle with infertility, I didn't understand what was happening to me. I didn't understand why it was happening to me. And I actually still don't understand why. But that's okay. I understand my thoughts and my feelings about it. And I trust my thoughts and my feelings about it. And I got to a place where I was able to trust them so much that I was able to decide whether I wanted to be on that journey or not. Without a need for validation, without a need for reason, but with all the trust and support in the world for myself. And because I didn't understand what I was going through, I couldn't rationalize it. And because I couldn't rationalize it, I couldn't rationalize why I felt so intensely about it. Because I couldn't rationalize it, I denied it. I denied what I thought. I denied what I felt. I denied both, and it created this internal struggle within me. It created this internal relationship in which I did not trust myself. It took years of feeling this way and allowing it to become compounded by one experience. I took years of feeling like there was something wrong with me to find a reason to dump it into a moment where I felt like someone was confirming, you're right, there is something wrong. I took years of not trusting and loving myself and reinforced it by an experience that felt like it was giving me the reasons, all the reasons in the world, not to trust or love myself. I allowed infertility and disregarding the fact that I'm a highly sensitive person to give infertility and me being a highly sensitive person reason. It was an experience that took me dangerously close to the edge of darkness within myself, but was an edge that I needed to come to. I'm not suggesting that all highly sensitive people will become depressed or experience depression, but there are studies that show that we are capable, and HSPs do tend to struggle with depression. They tend to struggle with it because we're raised in a world where we're being told that expressing our feelings or analyzing them or our thoughts isn't necessary. It isn't being celebrated. We're being told to go for the fix. We're being told to take messy action and have positive vibes only. And when we have highly sensitive feelings and thoughts and emotions, those are compounded by our inability to hurry up and figure it all out, where there is need for introspection and reflection. It's considered too much to do those things, or a time suck. Today's access at your fingertips and instant gratification and emulation or admiration for social media influencers or just perpetually being in the scroll is giving us the act now mentality, not the pause and reflect and see what you need. Is telling us that we need to appear like everything is great or we have all our shit together or nobody's going to relate to that and nobody wants to see that. We're being told that the world is interested in positive vibes only and instant gratification, but when it's not available, what are we supposed to do? What is the message we're delivering to people? That when they are deeply feeling or deeply thinking that it's taking too much time and that they need to fix it. We're telling them that it is far better to outsource. That you should project. That we need to look for somebody else to tell us the way. That we need to try and fix it, and that if we can't do all of these things, that we need to hide in it. For highly sensitive people, there is no way to outsource our thoughts. There is no way to outsource our feelings. I know, I've tried. No matter how much money I invested in doctors or how much time I devoted to treatments and to being consistent with it, or how far beyond my limits and my own inner knowing I pushed myself, there was no amount of advice, no amount of treatment, no amount of programming, strategy, or structure that calmed my mind or gave me emotional resolve. Why? Because we are the only people equipped to do that for ourselves. Yes, we can get support. Yes, we can have opinion. Yes, we can find books or methodologies or way of doing things, but ultimately it comes down to you finding that peace and understanding within yourself. We can hire, read, or reflect over what others have done, but we cannot find peace with which we are not in alignment. So what do? We grant ourselves permission. We grant ourselves permission to be who we are. We allow ourselves to take our freaking time. We acknowledge that we are deeply feeling and deeply thinking people. We celebrate our special gifts. And we create boundaries. Boundaries to cultivate who we are from a place of trust. Create boundaries to preserve our energy and clarity. That means understanding yourself only further provides you with access to understanding others and to have empathy. We create boundaries to learn what it is that is inhibiting our self-confidence and appreciate what it is you have to offer. That means learning to relate to your depth as an amplifier of your creativity and compassion and energetic exchange. We create boundaries around discovering our process to being present to our thoughts and our feelings and our wants and our desires. Means knowing that once feelings are clear, our ideas, our methodology, our relationship, our perspective, that's all clear too. Succeeding as a highly sensitive person has required that I create strong boundaries. Boundaries around allowing for my thoughts and emotions to lead me. Boundaries that allow me to pay attention to my aversions or my overstimulations. Boundaries that allowed me to see that when I stifle myself, I stifle everything I want to be, create, and receive. Boundaries that allow me to see that no one knows better than I do for me. And same for you. Boundaries that allow me to receive support, but also understand that receiving support does not mean that I have to go along with whatever I am presented, whatever strategy is given to me, whatever methodology is set before me. That succeeding as a highly sensitive person can be challenging. It's required that on my path to creating, on my path to selling, on my path to being a business owner, that I learn to find comfort in my discomfort, that I learn to see it as a signal, that I learn to sit with it and intentionally go in search of what I want from it and also what I'm trying to avoid. That I learn to validate my own ideas and my own feelings. That I learn to choose introspection over overconsumption. That I stop seeing my depth as a weakness or an annoyance and as something that is rather my superpower. That I learn to align and celebrate my sensitivity. That I decide that I am worthy of taking time for. That I decide I am not broken and I don't need to be fixed. That I decide that no one can nor should tell me my way. That I want to be the best advocate for me, and that I am. And that I trust myself to achieve in my thoughts, in my feelings, in whatever direction that I want to go in. That my highly sensitivity is my gift. A gift that not only allows me to find resolve in my decisions from a place that feels like me, but also in my innate ability to connect with others. That it also shows me to see my deep thoughts or feelings as an indicator for reflection. For instance, let's say you make a decision, but then a few weeks or a month later, that doesn't seem to be a fit. Or let's say you're in a relationship that suddenly starts to feel imbalanced and you want to change. Or if you're thinking of doing something that is new, but it scares you or feels intimidating, I level set with myself with the following. What is it that you want? What is in the way? What is the aversion that you are encountering with this desire? What can't you handle about it? And what does that mean about your wants? As a highly sensitive person, our thoughts and feelings can become conflicted if we don't allow for them. They can feel compromised and constrained by perception. We can feel confused, uncomfortable, and retreat. It's important to acknowledge your sensitivity. It's important to see who you are with it. It's important to protect it because it is a part of you. It's important that you allow your heightened sense of self to weigh in, not only on who you are, but who you surround yourself with and how that impacts you. It's important to protect your energy. It's important that you begin to see your heightened sensitivity as an amplifier that guides you. It's important that you discover the importance of self-acceptance and see where you're rejecting yourself. It's important that you surround yourself with those who support you being fully you, not trying to fix you, because you're not broken. It's important that if you desire success, that you decide that you're worthy of it, that you decide there is no better path to it than what feels like you. Decide that no one can or should tell you the way to your success. That you get to lead yourself and you get to say bye, bid adieu to anything or anyone that steals your energy, that disregards your highly sensitivity, or tells you what to feel or who to be. Be flat with your desire. See what's stopping you by asking it questions. Receive the aversion by allowing it and not avoiding it. Observe your thoughts and feelings. You're having to each and let them teach you. Trust your thoughts. Trust your feelings. Trust your thoughts and emotions to collectively tell you what you need and what you want. And when you feel like you can't, when you feel like you're thinking too much or you're feeling too deeply, pause. Let these overstimulated moments, let these intense thoughts or these intense feelings, these intense moments that you have with yourself to become a signal to you. Let it become your highly sensitive person signal that it's time to look at what you're avoiding within you. Infertility didn't make me an HSP. My response to infertility showed me that I am and that I always was one. That my sensitivity to self gives me access to my creativity. That my sensitivity to self gives me access to deeply experiencing emotion. That my sensitivity teaches me how to protect myself and assert myself. That my sensitivity to self allows me to be sensitive to others, to what works for me and what doesn't. To find my way to be in a world that wants everyone to follow the leader, to fit in, to get it done now, to take messy action, to positive vibes only, to fake it till you make it. My sensitivity teaches me how to be aware of how I think, how I feel, and how I lead myself in a way that feels like me, allows me to trust myself, and allows me to feel like me and trust myself and be wildly successful at the same time. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this. I can't see any of the comments, so I don't know if there are any comments that have been coming through or any feedback. All I'm seeing is just some hearts and things of that nature. But if you do have any comments, please feel free to post them, I guess, in the group. I'm not sure what's going on technologically today, but I'm so happy that you guys were able to be here. And if you are a highly sensitive person and you related to any of this and you feel triggered or overstimulated in any way, I advise you to go back and allow yourself to ask these questions about what it is that you want, what it is that you're becoming present to, what the aversions that you're facing are, what you're allowing that to mean, and how you can allow yourself to lead yourself to move forward. Trust yourself. And if you're not sure, go back to the exercise we did at the beginning of the video. Close your eyes. Become present to your thoughts and to your emotions. Allow yourself to see what you're feeling and allow yourself to see what you're thinking and see what comes up. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you, Shannon, for inviting me to be in the She Collective and participate in this summit. I hope that you guys find something in here today that'll give you clarity in yourself, clarity in your desires. And one thing that I heard recently that I want to share with you that really, really impacted me was by Yonée Robinson. And she says that your business problems or your lack of clarity in your business or your lack of direction in your business or your lack of trust in your business or your lack of understanding the way in your business problems are not business problems. They're personal problems around trusting your choices. I love you guys. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here and speak to you. Thank you. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.